Hello Internet, my name is Henriette, and today I will show you how to make a 3D Countryball just like this. It's better than the Death Furry's Countryball. Before we start the video, the colorful creature is now on Google Play, officially, and you can see awesome reviews. They all leave 5 stars. Except this guy. Fuck this guy. Anyway, please check the game out. It's free, and you totally won't get ads.
This is a rewarded video test ad. Nice job loading it.
Also, I want to say that this version of the game is in beta. Obviously, there's gonna be a lot of bug fixes and changes to the controls. And yeah, hopefully you will enjoy the game. Anyway, this program is called Blender. It's a free open source program where you can download on their website called blender.org, and it's a model for modeling, for video editing, mostly modeling, and I'm going to teach you how to make this Countryball in this program. Let's get started. Let's make a new file, new, general. Here's a cube. A Countryball is not a cube. Let's delete it. And we're going to add a circle. No, you're not going to add a circle. Think 3D. We're gonna add a sphere. A sphere is a ball, and it doesn't really matter how high quality you want the ball to be. Also, how I open this menu is on the bottom left side of the screen. I clicked Add UV Sphere, and you can change the quality of the sphere. I'm gonna make it 4040. Keep in mind that this menu will only appear when you create new stuff. Alright, when we click away, you see that the menu is gone and we can't edit it anymore. Anyway, you might have noticed that there was a lot of squares that we don't really want. You see the visible squares. Well, we can fix that by simply going to the modifiers tab. And we add a new modifier called subdivision surface. And when you do that, you see a lot less squares, but they're a lot smaller. And basically, in the right side of the screen, we have levels viewport. Whenever we increase this value, the quality of the sphere will increase. But I would not recommend increasing this when you're not rendering stuff, because it's gonna just ruin your computer if you put it too high. You see, when I go over here, where the arrow is up here, and when I see statistics, we can clearly see that this sphere has 12 million triangles, and when I lower this down, we can see that it is dramatically less whenever I lower it down. I'm gonna put it at 2 because 50,000 triangles is pretty good. Anyway, enough rambling. Let's add the eyes. Since the sphere is kind of done, we again go to the Add, Mesh, and we add a torus. A torus is like a donut, and that's going to be our outline for the eye. We are once again going to change the quality of the torus. I'm adjusting this, and I'm also going to change the width. And you might have noticed this is a bit too big, and there is no scale options here. So we're going to click away. I'm going to select the torus, and first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually go to the right side of the screen and change the rotation. On the right side, I'm going to change the Y rotation. You see, we're actually made it vertical. Now it looks like Saturn. We don't want Saturn. We want a Countryball. And now we're going to flip this again with the x-axis. Now it's looking at this side. Now we're going to scale this down. We could use this tool, but we can actually make it manually. I'm going to scale this down by 0.1, and this seems to be too small, so I'm going to make it 0.2. Honestly, it really depends on how you make this. So I made this 0.2. For you, it might be different depending on how big your sphere is. But now we're going to move the torus closer. Also, if it happens that you cannot select the torus because the sphere is the way, on the right side of the screen we have the scene collection, and you can simply just choose torus and we can select it again. Over here on the left side of the screen we have some tools like move, rotate, scale. We're gonna use move so we can move our torus. You can also choose this fourth thing to have like all the options. You can scale, rotate, and move the torus with this tool. But I'm gonna simplify by just choosing move, and we're gonna just move the torus as close to the sphere as we can. Well, this is a Countryball on one eye, and we have to position the eye so that it's rotated. It's actually snapped to the ball. All right, so let's do that. First of all, well, before we do that, our eye is really not that finished, because when I move this further away, you can see it's still a donut. We don't want a donut, we want a Countryball eye. You may have noticed that when you watch Countryball videos, just like Lala, because you're really ugly, you may see that there's an outline of the Countryball, which is basically the torus, and we need that white space inside the eye. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a mesh called plane. Plane is a 2D square that you can change, and when I try to scale it up, you see it doesn't do anything because this is a 2D plane. It's not a 3D plane, it's a 2D plane. So what I'm going to do is, once again, I'm going to go to the right side, I'm going to change the y-axis and the x-axis. And now it's facing the same way here. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this plane as close to the torus, and now we have this. Well, it seems to be a bit too big. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scale it down. I'm going to make it as close to the torus as possible. So I'm going to scale down the x and y axis. And there we go. However, you might have noticed that there are these annoying corners that we need to remove. So here is the next thing. We're going to model this eye. We're going to go to modeling tab, and over here we have a different screen. So since this is a plane, it has 4 points or vertices. And this doesn't have really that much detail, because when I remove this point or vertice, it actually removes the entire model. Even though this is supposed to be like a triangle, it doesn't actually create it. So how do we fix that problem? We're going to go to the left side of the screen and select loop cut, and we're going to split up the plane. Make it so that the plane has 16 small squares. Let's go back. We're going to deselect all the vertices. So if you see a yellow vertice, just deselect it. And what we're going to do is I'm going to literally remove the corners of the vertices. So you see, I press the delete key on my keyboard and I select vertices, 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 vertices. But you may see another problem, and that is that over here we have these annoying holes that are kind of sticking out. So what we're going to do is move these corners to the torus so they're not visible. However, you might have noticed that in this view, when I try to move stuff, it actually makes a really weird shape that we don't want. So you see that it's a bit difficult to see, but it's really not appropriate when we do this. Instead, we're going to change the view of the camera. So how do we do that? Over here on the right side, on the top right side, we have this circle over here that we can move with our mouse. And when I click the y-axis, we get a 2D view of our plane. So also this view is a bit weird. So we're going to use the hand. We're going to drag the hand to move our camera. We're going to zoom in. Also, if you see these corners, we can easily just scale the entire torus later. So I'm going to show you how to do that if this happens to you as well. So again, I'm going to click on the vertices and just move. I'm going to select the move tool and just manually move the vertices like this. So we're literally making a hexagon with this tool. So there you go, it doesn't have any holes. And that's how you make an eye. However, you see, like, once again, you can see like small spikes on the eye. That's what we don't want to see. And what we're going to do, just scale it down a bit, just so the things are not visible. And there you go. If you see any holes, just mess around with the modeling tool and the the scaling option. Anyway, so once that's done, you see that the eye is really not snapping to the Countryball. So what we are going to do that right now. We're going to select our plane and the torus. You select things by holding Control and clicking on plane and torus. And we can move to objects. We're not going to merge these models because I want to color the torus really easy later. So we're going to try to move this torus, and we're going to click the y-axis again, and now we get this 2D view again. And I'm going to move this eye to this position. It doesn't really matter where, because later we can copy the values and put the other eye on the opposite side. So now when we exit out and when I go to the 3D view again, you can see when I rotate my camera, this eye is still not really snapped. Sure, the position is fine, but it's not really snapped to the Countryball. So how do we do that? Well, we're going to go to the Z view, and we're gonna have this view here. And what we're going to do now is we're again from this side of the screen, we're going to select torus, hold control, plane. We're going to rotate these two models, and I'm going to click the rotating tool, and I'm going to select the blue line here, and I'm going to quickly rotate it. And you see it's still not snapped, so let's move it down. Here we go. And now when we look at the Countryball again, you see it has one eye. When I click the y-axis, you can see it's actually snapped. When I go 3D, it's snapped. But where's the second eye? Well, we can just copy and paste. We are going to select plane and torus, copy, so Control C, Control V. And you see over here, it's selected. When I move it, I have the same copy of the model. However, here's the problem with that. When I move, you see they're on the same angle, and we can try to like move this manually, but honestly that's hard work. What I would recommend is selecting two of these and getting coordinates over here. So what is the y-axis in here? The y-axis is up and down, and x-axis left and right from this view. We're going to take the x-axis from these two models. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to go to the torus and the plane. Notice how there's numbers 001 and 001 when you copy stuff. Over here, the x-axis, it's on the minus 1.2. We're going to make it minus and paste the value. Do the same with the torus. And now we have an eye that is in the same opposite position of the other eye. However, the rotation is still wrong. So we're going to do this again. But instead we're going to copy the rotation. So you see that the rotation is 114 degrees. We're going to copy that number and we're going to apply it to the models. We're literally going to just add minus, and same with the torus. And there we go. Now we have a perfectly eye Countryball. But you may be wondering, where's the detail with this Countryball? It's just a blank Countryball. Well, that's where we're going to do it right now. We're going to go to shading, and this is another screen. Again, use your camera tools just like this one. You just drag the move button and you can like move the camera. So anyway, what we're going to do is we're firstly going to add the outline for the eye. We're going to select one of the toruses, we're going to select one of the toruses by simply just clicking on the models, and I'm going to click add over here. So how do we change this from white to black color? Well, we can just simply go here and just change the base color to black. But you may notice that the shading is a bit weird. There's like a lot of gray spots. So how do we fix that? Well, again, in this like menu, we can just get the specular value and turn it to 0. And now it's completely black. Alright, let's do the same thing with the other torus, but instead of making a completely new material, we're going to go over here, browse material to be linked, material 1 that we just created, and it's using the exact same material. And you can see whenever I change the material color, it's actually changing the color of the two toruses, because they use the material, because both of them use the same material. Alright, let's return this to black. And now we're going to change the flag of the Countryball. At this point, you can save the model of this Countryball as a template, so you can easily add flags. So we're going to click new, and now we're going to go to the internet and find the flag of choice. So I'm going to simply write German flag. Oh no. And I got this flag from Wikipedia, and I'm literally going to save it. I already saved it, but you know, you save it in your own like folder with flags. And now we're actually going to add a flag. How do we add a flag? So we're going to go to the file and just drag it on Blender. And we're going to choose this color node to connect it with the base color. And there you go, we have Germany. There's one thing wrong with this like shading, and that is there's like this dot over here. That's the problem with the texture, and if you really want to fix that, just go click linear and closest. And there you go, we don't have that dot anymore. So again, there's this weird shading again. So you can simply just go to specular and disable that. Here you go. However, this is still not over yet. When you go to layout, you can see that the texture is gone. How do we return it? Well, we go to the top right corner again and click this button. There you go. Our model is kinda back. Now, final thing before we finish this model, and that is adding the outline, which is gonna be kind of confusing, so please follow through. We're gonna click the sphere, and we're gonna add a new material. We go to material properties on the side, and we click the plus sign. We're gonna add a new material, and this guy is gonna be a emission material. So this color over here is actually the outline color, and let's make it black. Now we're gonna enable back face culling, and finally we're going to go to the modifier section. If you remember, we made this sphere high quality by going to the modifier, but instead we're gonna actually click the new modifier called solidify. And what we're going to do now is actually lower this thickness to a negative value. You can see whenever I make it thicker, it actually increases the size. This may seem weird to you, but don't worry, we're gonna fix this. I'm gonna make it the 004. I'm gonna disable fill over here where rim is, and we're actually gonna flip normals, and finally gonna put a material offset to 1. And there you go. So how do we customize this outline later? If you want to customize this outline, you can just change the thickness. The lower this number is, the higher the thickness of the outline is. Now this is really weird, so this is why I recommended a lower number. Like 003 and 004 is my personal recommendation. And over here, if you want to change the outline color, you just go over here to material properties, select the material over here, and change the color. You can see you can choose any outline color you want. So this is how you basically make a 3D Countryball. So how do we render this, like a model? Well, you can go to File, you can export it as FBX. That's what I would recommend. I mean, this is not really rendering, this is just like making a model. So if you want to make a 3D game, you can actually use this model. However, I wouldn't really recommend using a really high quality model. Again, this is like 100,000 triangles, which is too much for gaming, so I would recommend keeping this low. But for animations, you can keep this number up. And again, you can go to a modifier and change the render value to a higher number. So I'm gonna put it to 4 because honestly that's a lot. And how do we render this Countryball? I'm gonna click render, and I'm gonna render an image. It's rendering, but it's rendering on the wrong side of the Countryball. So how do we fix that? We have this camera over here, and whenever I click 0 on my numpad, you get the exact, like, where it's exactly going to render your animation. And basically over here, change some values. You can also press 0, so you can see like how your camera, like you can basically change the camera in real time. I'm gonna do that and change some values here and there. This is our Countryball, and the camera is actually looking to the Countryball. Now when I press 0, you can see the how it exactly looks like. And now when I render, I'm gonna render image. It's actually rendering the Countryball. You may see that the model is a bit weird. You see the lighting is off. That's because there's another object called light, and you can actually move it again near the camera. Or I'm gonna make it like kind of closer to Germany. Press 0, render image, and now it should look a bit more natural. So here we go. That's how you make a 3D Countryball in Blender. I'm gonna repeat myself again. I'm not a modeler, I'm not an animator, I don't know how to animate stuff in Blender, and this may be a really inefficient way to actually animate something. So in the future, I may make a better tutorial on how to make Countryball. Also, final thing that I want to say is that if you want to quickly change flags, go back to shading and pick the German flag material, which is, in my case, it's material 002. And I'm gonna remove this window over here. I'm gonna go back to my flag folder, and I'm gonna pick Poland. Doesn't really matter which flag, and I'm gonna choose the color and connect it with base color, and I'm gonna make it closest, and I'm gonna return it back to material 003. And again, we have a perfect 3D Countryball. And when we render it, we have Poland. So here we go. This is how you make a 3D Countryball in Blender. It's way better than Galella. It's like PWA level. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully we get closer to season 3. And I'll see you later. Bye bye.
What kind of place is this?